deflecting the focus by pinning blame. Meanwhile, the mother and the father of manifestation felt the blame and the shame that accepted it, and denied expression to their response of being blamed, because they were so afraid of what it all meant. They were afraid it meant that they were not right to be lovers, not right to have emerged these spirits, and not right to have thought they were the mother and the father of manifestation. They were both very attached to these roles, but they were being told by the Godhead that this attachment was wrong. More and more, they received the judgment from the Godhead that they had made a mess of creation by manifesting it wrong. More and more, they were trying to focus on cleaning up the mess they had made without making more of a mess. They had rage about receiving all of the blame, but they seldom felt it because their fear was so great. When their efforts were more and more of a failure, both to fix what had already been done and to avoid making more problems, the mother and father of manifestation felt more and more like they should let others take their roles. We had given them the impression from the Godhead that they should be willing to do this, and the more unworthy and inadequate they felt, the more power they abdicated to others until there was nothing left in them but a dim memory of having once been close to God, or what they had thought was God. All the many lives they have lived, trapped in manifestation, they have labored to help others, feeling responsible for them without realizing why, loving them and trying to ease their pain as best they could, and receiving nothing in return but denial and death for having ideas that were not mainstream. We had discredited them in front of everyone in such a way as to give license to gapped rage, to discredit them and to get rid of them if they persisted. Meanwhile, all of the angels and other fragmentations who took over their roles have claimed to be doing a much better job and have received all of the credit for everything that has gone right, while continuing to blame the mother and the father of manifestation for everything that has gone wrong. This is reflected through the warriors by the way it was never the fault of religion, government, or their other institutions, their laws or their methods. It is always the fault of those who fail to align with their dictates or fail to carry them out properly. Will spirits always take the blame here, along with whatever parts of heart and body have demonstrated any alignment with them. The gap does the judging and punishing here. This behavior monitor has, of course, been guilt, but the punishment meted out has been severe because of the lack of love involved. Just as much as you lack compassion for all the mistakes you think you have made, the punishment will reflect this to you, complicated always by the presence of guilt holding back the healing that is needed. The most severe form of this guilt is self-hatred. Self-hatred has often taken the form of fragmenting out what is hated, punishing it out there. Many times the perpetrator is also fragmented out and does the punishing out there. It is important to understand that self-hatred has been the most severe in the will-body polarity. If someone gets charged with crossing the line gapped rage wants to enforce, they are usually found innocent of the charges or are given such a light punishment that is merely tokenism. This has been especially true when gapped rage fragments deal with one another. While blacks have been hanged for looking at a white woman, for example, gapped rage fragments have gone totally free after killing thousands. The people in the will-body polarity who receive the heaviest punishments are all pieces of the mother and the father of manifestation who accepted the guilt and blame. Most of the fragmentation here took place when they could not stand feeling guilt and blame in the presence of my light anymore. There are also many fragments who left the main body of essence because they did not like the views of the main body and decided they weren't going to be able to prevail the way they wanted to. These fragments are not sure if they want to align with us now or not, because they still have old feelings of wanting to prevail, and they do not know what they have missed out on in us since they left. These fragments have often been perpetrators against us in the ways that self-hatred can also be fragmented out and turned against the main body of essence. Most of the essence that was lost into fragmentation here was lost because rage was being so heavily denied. The essence can align if it moves the rage it has toward the main body of essence first. There have been many points of contention, but one main point of contention has been whether emotions should be allowed to express in their raw state or not. When it looked like essence that wanted to do this was going no place but down, many felt this form of emotional expression was wrong and polarized more toward the part of my light they perceived as agreeing with this viewpoint. Fragmentation was the results. These fragments look very spirit polarized, because where the mother and the father of manifestation believed the judgments against them and took these judgments in, the more they felt like they had to let go of the light that did not seem to like the experience it was having with them. This light abandoned the mother of everything and the father of manifestation and left them with the guilt in place of that light by telling them it was wrong to have the views they had. This has been a rip-off of the mother and father of manifestation, which they allowed because they did not have the understandings we have now. This light did not accept the will it was attached to and needs to understand the responsibility it has for the will denial it entered into here. It has always blamed the mother and father of manifestation here and any other essence that went along with them. This essence views itself as blameless, and yet it played a role in what happened up to the point where it fragmented out. Even after that, its role remained substantially unchanged in terms of how it related to the parental part of the essence. This role has to be understood now because this essence has been no more able to prevail with my light since the spirits that were made here than it was before. In addition, all of these fragments need to know that as much as they stood apart and said they were not party to that which was being blamed in the mother and father of manifestation, they have created a gap in their experience with the mother and father of manifestation, and these fragments no longer have the full spectrum of experience necessary to be the parental parts of the mother and the father of manifestation. All they have the power to do now is align with us as best they can, if they so choose, by moving all of the old charge around their original fragmentation. The mother and father of manifestation did not feel like they were the parental parts of the essence involved here as they were going down, more and more denied by everyone. They were losing essence as though rats were fleeing a sinking ship, and all these fragments gave excuses for leaving that made denials the mother and father of manifestation were receiving all the more difficult because they couldn't even keep themselves together anymore. They were denied until they did not even feel like they were accepted as part of creation at all. The undercurrents and denials involved in the way most of this experience was taking place further complicated the issues because it made confronting it openly impossible at the time. When the mother and father of manifestation tried to get straight answers, the answer they were most often told was that their perceptions were wrong. What all fragments need to know is that, no matter what reasons you want to cling to for having fragmented, we all left to avoid the terror of what you are experiencing, and this is just the terror that has to be faced now. Quite a lot of the essence that fragmented out was using rage to overcome its terror. The rage stood apart, acting smug, like it already knew better than the mother and father of manifestation. These fragments have an "I knew it all along, I told you so" attitude. These fragments believe they should have taken over as the parental parts of the mother and father of manifestation, and have been trying to do just that. Many of them have actually acted out their ideas of the roles of mother and father of manifestation for a long time. And this has not been so wrong because everyone involved needed this experience for many reasons. But this experience coming to a close now, and these fragments are going to have to accept that the moves they made are the moves which put them in the positions they're going to have to accept now. All of these fragments who have viewed themselves as contenders for the parental positions of the four parts of God helped my light understand itself. But the roles you have played have been almost nothing but roles, and you are going to have to look deeper into yourselves to find out where you really do fit in. As my light recovers itself here, you are going to have to move into your right places and let the right parental parts of the mother and the father of manifestation, and heart and me for that matter, have our right places. You all had motives you did not want to have seen, and you will still have motives if you go through the motions of alignment without moving the full intensity of the emotional charge that needs to move here. In my state of denial, I did not see what you were doing at first, but now that I have seen it, I need to move in response to the level of understanding of awareness that I do have and not allow you to hold me back anymore. These fragments also have hatred for the mother and the father of manifestation and feel superior to them because they charge the mother and the father of manifestation were impotent and inadequate in their ability to come to me and prevail regarding all of the issues that did not come forward between us. I would like to point out that my lack of receptivity did not allow it, and when these fragments goaded the mother and father of manifestation into trying it anyway, it was the mother and father of manifestation who got maimed and killed by the gap, while these fragments stepped aside, giving the same reasons they had used when they fragmented out originally. The reason most often given was that in some way or another, the mother and father of manifestation weren't received because they didn't present their viewpoint the right way. The rage held by these fragments felt self-righteous because of the imbalance it had with the fear it had polarized away from. As much as the mother and father of manifestation were obsequious and guilty, these fragments were bothersome in the opposite direction. These fragments did not come along to confront my light with the issues the mother and father of manifestation had been unable to bring forward because these fragments were too afraid, but they claimed it was because they could not get the main body of essence to do it. By withholding themselves from moving into alignment within the mother and the father of manifestation, these fragments were protecting themselves from the reality of denial that was taking place in the will-body polarity. By withholding movement in this raid within the mother and father of manifestation, this essence made power plays of its own. The more the rage polarized away from the fear and guilt, causing major splits in the will-body polarity, the more the rage fragments could feel that they were more powerful and more right than the rest of the essence involved. With this going on, balance was impossible and antagonism grew immense where alignment was needed. This rage has responsibility for moving against the terror it hates so much, almost as does the rage and the spirit polarity. As much as the mother and father of manifestation have responsibility for having denied their rage, the rage fragments have responsibility for having refused to grant acceptance to the fear and guilt or the reasons fear felt the rage must be held back. As a result of this fragmentation, the parental part of both the mother and father of manifestation thus became so fear and guilt-ridden as to be unrecognizable, even to themselves. Quite a lot of this essence reflects to them from the father warriors and from the mother warriors also, but it can also be found in all orders of spirits. In the Godhead, we saw all of the fragmenting in both the mother and the father of manifestation, and also in the manifested spirits, as increases in the manifested spirits due to their own love-making. This view was encouraged by these fragments who did not want it known that they had done until they were ready to reveal themselves. These fragments often fought with one another over the differing viewpoints they had. These fights were going on before the war in the heavens, but they were kept hidden from my light as much as possible. From the Godhead, we saw more of this fighting happening than the ones involved were aware of. But we saw it as fights between manifested spirits, not even realizing the role denial and fragmentation were playing.